This is the journey to one Africa.
We talk about strongholds, but Russia, let's use Russia for example, right? Do you know why they haven't invaded Russia? If Russia was an African country, why do you think they haven't invaded Russia?
Because they have those guys. They have everything.
They have defense systems.
Yeah.
So they have to tread carefully. So for what I'm trying to tell you is for our leaders not to fear, because that's what you're saying, and for us to break away from the stronghold, we need to have food security. We need to have energy security. We need to have economic security, and we need to have defense security. Without those things, and then finally, we have to unite. So let me tell you how the unity will help us do all these things faster. If we unite, we can build our defense security faster. If we unite, we can build our food security faster. If we unite, we can build our energy security faster. If we unite, our economy will become one of the best in the world. But we need to do those four things. So, because right now we're doing root cause analysis. We need to do those four things to break away from the stronghold. That way our leaders will not fear the powers, the foreign powers, and then they'll start doing the right thing. And those foreign powers will then, they won't come to them as they're inferior. They will come to us like we are superior. Are you with me?
I am with you, and I want to say this before we continue, that I am with you and I agree with you, but also I said this before, that if Africa, because for me I see it that unity is very important right now, like literally right now. And I'm saying that because you can take a look at this organization we have. You guys, you have Ecowas. Ecowas, yeah, to be honest, is not really doing good job, but we can all agree that EAC, East African Community, it's one of the strongest community in Africa right now, and is doing good job, to be honest, because one of the conversation that is there right now, apart from, because there's already military of EAC right now, they're working towards the EAC currents, East African currents. What is happening in Congo or in other parts of eastern part of Africa right now, Congo is part of it, and Somalia is joining as well, and then the next one I heard is Ethiopia. But what is happening is, even the Congo crisis, what is happening, they are actually sending the troops of East African troops from all these countries to go there. What I'm trying to say is, for instance, I'll just give you this example. Coffee is the raw material that is coming from Africa. Africa yearly is making $2 billion US, nearly. It's not even there, nearly. But if you take just one country like Germany, that does not even produce, it doesn't have coffee, it's using the coffee mostly from Africa, it's making nearly $8 billion. This is a single country that is taking advantage of the raw material that is coming from Africa. All right, we're talking about Niger and uranium, and how 20 to 30% of electricity in Niger comes from that uranium that is coming from, in France, it's coming from uranium. And you have like more than 83% of Niger people, they don't have electricity. These are data that we have. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the world needs Africa. And I'm saying this because when we're talking about economic security, energy security, food security, yes, we have crude oil, but the world needs that. The world needs the oil from Libya, the oil from Nigeria. They need it so bad. Right now, they're in conflict with Russia. So Russia, it's the one that supply a lot of oil to the European Union. They stop that. They know the alternative is Africa. If we come together, and this is what I'm saying, if we come together, Africa, this this thing that we say that, oh, we need them to support, we need them to build industry, we need them to do this. It's not gonna be them building for us or helping us as we think, or borrowing us, but it's gonna be us actually getting our rights, like getting what we deserve, getting what for so long they have been taking away from us. So now if we unite, we have strength, we have power, we are one. Even forget about, okay, defense, forget about it, it's very important, but just for the case of what I'm trying to say, forget about this for a second. They need what we do have. If we unite, then it's not going to happen the same way it's happening right now. The threatened game, because this sanction is basically just like a daddy saying that, okay, if you come here, you know, after 7 p.m., I'm going to punish you. You're grounded. That's what basically they're doing to Africa. That, okay, you're not aligning with what we say, you're grounded, sanction. But they're not going to be doing that, because if they do that, then they're not going to be able to access what we have in the continent. If we come together as a strong people with one voice to say that we don't want this, and our countries, each country in Africa, they have their own military system. They had, if you go to South Africa, they have. You go to Nigeria, they have. It might not be as strong as it is there, but imagine if all of us we come together and we use what we have in our continent to defend our borders. Because it's no longer going to be like, oh, you guys are Congolese, you're Tanzanian, this is our border. No, it's going to be, we're one Africa. Okay, you're a soldier, our soldier, we're fighting against the same war, this same war that is happening against them. So if it's going to be a threat against our security and everything, we have our wars, we have our soldiers and everybody ready there to defend the continent. When it comes to food security, this continent is blessed with food everywhere, wherever you go. So whatever countries that are struggling with something like food security, we can always share with one another and serve with one another in that sense. We can always, if we are united, we're one. But right now that is not happening. Right now they're taking advantage of our oil, that, oh, you guys have crude oil, you don't have technology, then you need our technology, and then we have these treaties of like 95%, and we all take 5%, they take 95%, and we get nothing out of it. We're still in the same position. But if we're united, these are not gonna be negotiations anymore. This guy will treat us with respect. These guys, they're gonna give us to us what is really for us. We're no longer gonna have this kind of trades that, you know, they take everything away from us. For instance, coffee, but there will be eco trade. And I know my brother who is fighting for us. Eco trade, that means whatever that you guys get, we get it. If this is the raw materials you guys get, this is what we get. And these guys, they're gonna come here to Africa to build their industries, to build whatever it is, not as a gesture of helping us, but because they need it, and we can have our own conditions. We can stand in a point of us dictating how these things can go. Right now, they're the one that deciding, they're the one that are controlling everything, because again, the mindset, we believe that we cannot survive without them. Oh, this and this, we need that. No, we need first unity, because once we have that, then we have a strong say. We have one say. When we have one say, these guys, they need Africa. Like, they're gonna do everything it takes to get this piece of this Africa. And for us, we should be ready to do anything it takes to come together, because unity is power. Once we have that, then all these things, really food security, energy security, economic security, I believe, because man, we survived with this before they came. We lived before they came here. We were living here in Africa. We were surviving. We were striving. But when they came and introduced all this kind of system that we need to depend on everything are messed up, and we are here where we are. That's what I wanted to draw down with.
You're talking about everything you just said is based on economic security. So because you're talking about in coffee, we make 2 billion, or I don't know the numbers off my head, but we make, I think it's like 2 billion or 2 billion.
Yeah.
And then there they make maybe 10 times more or 20 times more than what we make in Africa. So the reason behind that is, I'm gonna keep going back to the root cause. The stronghold doesn't want us to add value to the coffee. That way we can make that money ourselves, right? So they rather, remember in a call previously, like a few weeks ago, I told you that we export jobs, right? So it goes, the coffee beans goes from the farm, goes on the ship in the ports, then it goes to Europe. You use Germany as an example. It goes to Germany, right? And then in Germany, they process it, they package it, and they put it in their grocery stores. And then the grocery stores, they can now sell it and make 20 times more than what Africa makes. Whereas if the stronghold wasn't there to stop us, we will build our own factories in Africa. I'm not saying we should beg them to build factories. We build our own factories. We will create jobs. We will package it and then ship and actually sell in our countries in Africa first, and then ship the excess to other countries in the world and make that 20 times more. So let's say $40 billion instead of $2 billion. Are you with me? But let's just go with 20 billion. I mean, not be too greedy. 20 billion instead of 2 billion. That's 10x ourselves. So if in Africa the stronghold didn't stop us from processing our crude oil in Nigeria, processing our uranium in Niger, and in East Africa, processing our coffee beans and tea, we will be more advanced. But that stronghold, which is what I'm telling you that we need to break away from, which is the problem. What I'm trying to drill into your head is that there's a stronghold stopping us from doing everything you're saying, including uniting. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to make progress. They don't want us, because why? It's not to their advantage. It's gonna hurt them. Look at France today. They're running around like a chicken without head. Why? Because they need that uranium from Niger. They desperately need it. So they're doing everything they can. To get their hands back on that uranium. So that they're gonna keep trying. They won't give up so easily. This is gonna be an ongoing battle for a while. So when you talked about that they need Africa and Africa doesn't need them, I agree with you. But Africa doesn't need to be shipping away crude oil. That's not what we should be shipping out. We should be shipping out petrol, not crude oil.
Absolutely.
Because if we're shipping out crude oil, that means we have to buy petrol
from them. Yeah.
From them. And that petrol is more expensive than crude oil. So who's winning?
brother, that's why. Okay, let me ask you this question then, because you keep saying that they don't want this stronghold. They don't want. And that's what really bothered me when it comes to the context of Africa, that because they don't want it, then we are not doing it. Because
so let me explain it to you. Let me tell you how it works. Let me tell you exactly how it works, because I like to give you the inside information. So do you know there's an entity in different Western countries and China and Russia, just in all those, let's call them advanced countries, that they work on intelligence. Are you aware of this?
Yeah,
like CIA and all these things, right? Because we always look at politics and we don't look at the intelligence community.
Yeah.
So are you aware that the intelligence communities, they have people that creates files on everybody, like world leaders and people they think are targets and people they think are assets. There's the difference between targets and assets. So if they start building a file on you, for example, let's say they want to build a file on Micah, right? And they go back and find out what school you went to, who your dad is, who your mom is, what you like, what you dislike, everything about you. Everything about you, right? All your weaknesses, all your strengths. They figure out everything about you. That way, when they hand your file over to something called, from a targeter, it's the people that do the work, to an operator. An operator is the person that goes into the field. So that operator might look like your neighbor. That operator might look like you. That operator might speak your language. That operator, you won't even know that person is a spy, right? And his job is to infiltrate you as an individual. And if you're talking about a country or a government, that operator's job is to infiltrate the government. Are you with me so far?
Yes, I am.
Okay. When they infiltrate the government, or I'm going to use you as an example, but just keep thinking about government. When they infiltrate you, then they will start pushing their agenda on that they want to come out from Swahili nation. What they start shaping Swahili nation the way they want Swahili nation to be. If they don't want Swahili nation to become a powerhouse media, they will do everything they can, because they already know everything about you. They will do everything they can to stop you from becoming a powerhouse media.
Yeah.
And you might not even know it, right? So, if the president of Tanzania, they have a file on president of Tanzania, if maybe if they want to get more information about the president of Tanzania, maybe one of his staff members is cheating on his wife, they go and tell that staff member that if that staff member doesn't start giving them information, they're gonna go and tell his wife that he's cheating on her. And then that way they've gained an insider to do that, to help them get information. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that the stronghold has a lot of different ways they work to manipulate us.
And do you know why they do that? Do you know why they do that?
Because they want to keep us down and they not, their goal is not to keep us down. Their goal is to make themselves stay as powerful as they can.
But also because they are desperate. And someone who is desperate can do anything. Like for me, I'm well aware with that, because it's a very cheap game of them. They're desperate, therefore they're willing to do anything to shut people up. And this, they will only succeed when we have individuals who are outspoken. We have few individuals who are outspoken. We have like this country, that country. But if the whole continent, like right now, the people, because right now the people are standing with Niger, it's impossible to shut them up from the social media. You cannot even shut them, because those are the people who are helping your social medias to earn your income. You can't shut out millions and millions of Africans away from your social media. You need them. So if all the people raise up with one voice, they're not gonna, like, how are you gonna do that to 54 leaders of African countries? How are you gonna do that to 1.6 billion Africans? Because now we know all Africans they want this, but we just need the leadership also to stand with this. We need the leadership to take an action. The people, they are behind their leaders. Whoever that will send for that, they'll be there. And that's how you take away the power from the stronghold. But my point is that these guys, they actually don't have power. We give them power because of our fear. And the fear is stopping us from bringing about change to our continent. But if we take the fear out of the picture, what is left is change there. In order for us to see change, we need to stop being afraid. We need to speak. We need to stand. We need to come together regardless of, and to face the consequences, because what we are facing right now is much more worse than what we'll face when we're united.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. For
Yes.
us to stop being afraid, for us to unite, for us to empower ourselves, we need economic security, food security, defense security. We need all those things. Why? Look at COVID. When COVID happened, what did we do? We started begging for vaccines, right? Because we didn't have that security. We didn't have that security, right? We're not positioned, and I'm telling you that this is by design. We're not in position to eliminate the fear. Like I agree with you, but I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to get you to the point that what we need to eliminate. Oh, go ahead.
I want to give you the evidence of something that really happened during the regime of President Magufuli when he was here alive. When that V-19 came and people were begging for V to come, first of all, he refused it. And even when they brought it here, he had to test it. He had to test on something else. He did it and he came up with a report because he's the chemistry guy. He knows science. He's a scientist. And one of the countries in the whole entire world that had no fear when COVID-19, when pandemic came, it was Tanzania, because of what leader did. The leader at that time, and he was hated, and Tanzania were known with everybody else, and a lot of people moved here, not only Africans but white people from German, from all these countries that did not agree with the lockdown. They moved to Tanzania to see this one leader who stood and say, I'm not gonna lock my country, we're gonna keep working as usual, and we're gonna take precaution. Yes, we're not gonna use your V, we're gonna use our ways, and we're going to fast and pray for 3 days. He called the entire nation to do that. There were no fear. One single leader had no fear against this, what we call stronghold. He had no fear, and the entire country reflected that spirit. And because of that, because of the pandemic, a lot of countries, they dropped economically. But because of pandemic, Tanzania, it moved from the lower per capita income, it went all the way to middle within 5 years, within the time of pandemic. So other countries, the eastern part of Africa, they were struggling, but Tanzania, it was growing economically because he did not lock down. So things that went opposite, and this is just the evidence, and so many things. And you know, I think you know this, a lot of Magufuli and a lot of people. You know, this man was fearless. This man did not scared of them. He was the only one, but he's not scared of them. He's not scared to stand against them. He's not scared to speak his mind. He's not scared to put that mindset to the people of Tanzania. Even today, as I'm saying, what I'm doing, I was inspired by him. I started to do when I was in Korea. A lot of Tanzanians today, regardless of where they are, how they're going, that the same mindset they still have is still live in their hearts. They are still in that position of remembering what he did and what he proved to them, because what he was proving to them, that you guys can do it, we can do it. So what he did, he built infrastructure. What he did, he revived this, airline of Tanzania, and right now it's operating. What did he build roads, build railways, electricity airways, he started building. He built, Nyerere Dam. He moved the government from here to capital city. He did thousands and thousands of people without being scared. And that spirit, it went to the people of Tanzania, and Tanzania was just shining. It was just going like this. That's what in 5 years, it is impossible for economy to move like the country from the low to go to the middle. But that's what Tanzania did in 5 years. And because of the pandemic.
Did the West like him?
They did not like him, which is okay. That's why I'm saying
but I'm trying to show you. I'm not saying that he's not a good guy, but I'm trying to show you that. And I knew you were gonna say yes without even knowing the answer to the question. The stronghold didn't like him. Why? Because he was making progress for Tanzania. And that's what I'm trying to show you. And my second question, how did he die?
That is a $1 million question.
Okay.
And for the sake of...
No, let me say a different way. What do you think happened to him?
Honestly, for the sake of where I'm living right now, I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay.
Because I'm here in the continent. I need to be careful with that. But we all have different opinion on that. Okay. And whatever that you're thinking, that's what I'm thinking as well.
So we can agree. We can agree that it's not natural. It wasn't a natural death. We can agree on that.
And that's my point, my brother. That's my point. My point is this. I hope you get. My point is this. This is one guy who shocked the whole world and them in 5 years, to do what he did exactly against the system that was there. Not only against them, but against here, their own people here. He did within 5 years to change the system upside down. He did that. And he was not loved by other leaders, because he was actually exposing everything against them. So if this is the same thing happened in the entire continent of Africa, if all the leaders are this fearless, and which is possible because we are the people that we can choose these people, but you know, as again you say that a lot of leaders that are coming here, we are not choosing them. They're brought here by someone else, right? The leaders that we want, they're actually right now leading like coup in Niger. People, they want them. In Burkina Faso, Mali, people, they want. So if you have this fearless leader, these three leaders in the western part of Africa, you see what they're doing to, you see what Mali did to France. Now Niger, you see what it's doing to France as well, kicking them out. If we have these leaders, none of the fearless leaders in the entire continent of Africa, man, these guys are not going to win. There's no more stronghold. And
I agree with you, because they either kill. I'm gonna say for you, because you're Tanzania. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna use your president. I'm just gonna say that. So it actually, do you know that what happened in Tanzania also happened in Haiti during COVID?
Yeah, I know.
And do you know what happened to that leader?
Yes, I know.
Okay, he got killed too. Okay, so what I'm trying. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is you're 100% correct that if we unite, it's gonna make things a lot more difficult for them to kill us, manipulate us, and make us do their will. But the stronghold doesn't want us to unite. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So that becomes a challenge of its own. We can unite. So, but for us to unite, we have to have the same people with the same spirit of Sankara, all in position, right? They all have to be in position, ready to go, right? But because we don't select our own leaders, right? Because we don't select our own leaders, they do. And because they give our leaders incentives, like, and I don't know about Tanzania and some other African countries, but our leaders in Nigeria, they tend to have houses in Europe, they tend to have houses in America, they tend to have businesses in America. So their family and themselves are good, right? So because they're good, I'm using Nigeria for example, because they're good, they can then do whatever their puppet master tells them to do. So what I'm trying for me and you to now figure out before we get to unity, I want us to take steps to unity. So for us to get to the goal of unity, how do we get the right leaders in place? That way, when we say it's time to go, it's go time, let's unite, we can all unite. And not half of Africa is not willing to unite and half of Africa is willing to unite. Actually, it's not even half. It's going to be like 80-20, where 80% doesn't want to unite and 20% wants to unite. Are you with me? So I'm now trying to brainstorm. I'm now trying to brainstorm with you. What are the steps we need to take that we can ensure that when it's time to say unity, unite, that we can achieve that goal? Because we can keep saying, if we unite, what do we need to do to get our leaders to unite, right? Because a simple task like African free trade, simple. It's not even supposed to be difficult. Think about it. It's not even supposed to be difficult. It doesn't make any sense that Tanzania and DRC, for example, are not what you might call it, trading with each other as much as they need to trade. I don't know about Tanzania and Kenya. I don't know about Tanzania and Rwanda.
We do pretty good here in East Africa. We do pretty good when it comes to that, because in East Africa we basically even don't need a visa to go to these countries. We just need our IDs. We don't even need passports. So we can actually, You can be
Perfect.
Tanzania.
So if you remember, one of our calls, I had told you that I love what East Africa presidents are doing. Okay,
That's first
compared to West Africa, like you all are ahead. You all are on the right path. Are you aware that what's his name? Is it Kagame of Rwanda? Yeah. Are you aware that the Western media have been trying to make him look bad?
Yeah.
Because he's been in power for so long.
Yeah, I know.
Because like you said, our democracy doesn't have to be that democracy, right? Yeah. If you look at Rwanda today compared to where Rwanda was, he's done a great job. Can we agree on that?
1000%.
Okay, but they still don't like him. Why? Yeah. Because he's making the stronghold. He's making progress, and the stronghold doesn't want us to make progress because they want to keep controlling us and manipulating us. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. So, what my question is, how do we unite? What are the steps we need to take in Africa for us to unite? That's my question. What are the steps we need to take in Africa for us to unite?
This is what we do. And we gave this suggestion in our petition. I've been talking about this. I had an opportunity to go to African Union last year, and I gave that suggestion as well. And I'm talking about that all the time. Sankara, he said that, whoever feeds you controls you. The step to unity right now, which is our petition here. Guys, if you haven't signed the petition, please go read and sign this petition and share. We need 100 million signatures for One Africa right now. If we cannot get this done, then there's nothing that we can get done with our unity. All right, and we're not putting like 1 million, 2 million, no, 100 million, because we want to show these guys that Africans they're really tired of all this thing of division. It's costing a lot of our people's life. Anyways, but this is one of the solutions that we can take. We can ask us to answer that question. We can say this, that why we're not uniting. I'll start addressing with that. Why we're not uniting, and I think we already shared about that. But for the case of answering your question, I need to start with that. Why we are not uniting, and we have bodies like African Union that their job is to unite Africa. When you look at African Union Agenda 2063, right? This is 2063. You will love it. Now, if you are Pan-Africanist, if you love the idea of Africa's unity, you will love it, because everything that they've written for 2063, they're perfect. It's perfect. It's good. It's Africa's desire. Everything. Right now, they have continental free trade area. That's beautiful. In 2063, everything that you can mention, visa, everything. But why? Let me stop you just real quick, and then don't lose your train of thoughts, please. Man, do you know that all the leaders in power right now will not be in power in 2063? you gotta wait for me to finish my point.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, I'll address what I'm trying to say. That so this is the plan for 2063, and our petition, it says this. I'm going to answer you through my petition. Our petition right here. It says we want One Africa, United Africa, One Africa right now, not 2063. So the reason I believe, this is my personal assessment, the reason I believe why there's a vision of Africa we want 2063, the reason is African Union is not supporting itself. Someone else is supporting African Union. I'm highlighting these points right here. All right? Someone else is supporting African Union, and so I don't know what kind of agreements they have, because whatever loans, we all know that any loan or aid, any money that Africa borrows from other countries, they always come with condition. I don't know if the condition, and always like this, if they come here, they want to dig some gold, they will say that, okay, you have to give us this area for 100 years. After 100 years, we'll leave all this industry and everything for you. That's another generation. For 50 years, they love those numbers. So I don't know if in African Union they say, okay, we guys are gonna give you loan, but in order for you to achieve your goals, it has to be 40 years from now, and that is exactly 2063. So there is no urgency for one Africa. There's no urgency for one visa. There's no urgency for passport. There's no urgency for African, currency. There's no urgency for one army. There's no urgency for these things, because the vision is 2063. So whoever is in African Union today is not going to be there in 40 years. They're not going to be here leaders. Why should they do anything for 40 years, for the next 40 years? There's no that urgency. So I think this solution is this. We as a people, if we want to achieve the unity of Africa, first of all, we need to reform African Union. Because I believe in the vision of African Union, but also I believe it's corrupted because of the money that is coming, because of whoever feeds you controls you. Whoever building your house is actually owning the house, even if you're living in it. So reformation of African Union is for us saying that, okay, African Union, you must withdraw from receiving partner funds to sustain its budget. We look at the budget of African Union every single year. How much do they need? And how much is coming from the outside? We as an African, can we not give that money to African Union to operate as an independent institution from international institution working for us, instead of working against us? Because this 2063 is against us. So us realizing that, stopping that, and taking action to actually go inside our pockets and give that money to African Union, I believe that will be the very strong point towards the Africa we want and towards the Africa's unity. But if our bodies, very important bodies, this was founded by our forefathers who sacrificed their lives for Africa's independence, but today is not working for us because of money. What is money? What Africa has is more than money. The gold, the diamond, the tanzanite, the oil, everything that we have is more than what we see, than this money. Why can't we, us as African, give our own money, donate, even if it's a single dollar to African Union to work for us? So the question is, are they willing to withdraw? And the question is, are we willing to support our own organization to work for us? The answer is yes, we're willing, because of the research, of course, I've done. But also I'll give you another living example from Ethiopia. Ethiopia, they built a dam called GERD. That dam, they did not receive even a single dollar from outside. No Chinese, no Americans, no European Union. That dam, it has been financed by Ethiopians themselves. People, they gave their own money to build the biggest dam in Africa, that you produce electricity. Not only you said energy security, this is one of the energy security. The dam in Ethiopia is not just going to support Ethiopia, but is supporting the rest of other African countries. They'll be able to give electricity to Kenya, to any country that wants that electricity. They'll be able to get it from that dam of Ethiopia, because it's the biggest one in Africa. Right now, they're filling, that dam, and they will be producing a lot of high megawatts in the entire continent.